Hello everyone, welcome back to Science with Mr. Pens. I want to help you through explaining this diagram because it's a very complicated one. You definitely want to get this one into your notes. This is the final step of cellular respiration. We are inside the mitochondria here. So right here in the matrix, this is the innermost section of the mitochondria, keeping in mind that the mitochondria has two membranes, one here and one here. So this up here is outside of mitochondria. This is the intermembrane space between the two membranes, and then the matrix in the center of the mitochondria. Remember, glycolysis is happening outside of the cytoplasm, the first step. The second step is happening down here inside the matrix. There's the Krebs cycle right there, which we looked at the other day. Keeping in mind the Krebs cycle is producing CO2. It's producing these energy-carrying molecules here. And these energy-carrying molecules are actually going to be used now in the electron transport chain, which is happening on this inner membrane of the mitochondria. So we have NADH comes in right here and uses the energy that it got during the Krebs cycle to get these electrons into a high energy state and move through the chain, powering this system here. We also have FADH2 doing the same thing, using its energy to transfer electrons with tons of energy to again power this system. What the system is doing is it's pumping hydrogen ions into the intermembrane space from the matrix. So we're building up a nice high concentration of these H plus ions. It's really just a proton, remember? And so we have this chemiosmotic gradient that's built up in here of lots and lots of H plus ions. That's what these three enzyme complexes here are doing. That's their purpose. They're just using the energy from these energy-carrying molecules and the electrons that they are donating to the system to pump these ions into the intermembrane space up here. At the end of this chain, the very final electron acceptor, we call it, is oxygen. And this is the entire reason as to why we need oxygen. This is why without oxygen, we will die. The reason is we will run out of energy from this system. We will not be able to make enough ATP to survive and our cells will die. So this is why we need oxygen. What happens is the electrons come here, oxygen accepts it, along with some of those hydrogen ions that are floating around to make water. So this is also where the water is produced as part of cellular respiration. And so now with all these hydrogen ions up here in the intermembrane space, they actually follow through this ATP synthase, which should be familiar because the exact same complex was used in photosynthesis. In the diagram, it was going the other way, but it's the exact same complex. These hydrogen ions follow the concentration gradient through from an area of high concentration to low concentration through ATP synthase. And the energy from that process, ATP synthase is able to take ADP and the free-floating phosphate groups and reattach them to make ATP. And this process generates lots and lots and lots of ATP. So this is where the vast majority of the energy that the cell uses comes from. It's this process. And this whole chain doesn't work unless at the end there's oxygen to accept that final electrons at the end to make water. And then we can pump all of these hydrogen ions here to power ATP synthase to make ATP. And where are these energy things coming from here to help this process get started? It's coming from the Krebs cycle.